Hi everybody, and welcome to my first video. I'm Hurdled. This is Hurdled Gaming, and today I'm doing a quick playthrough video on Sgt Hammer versus AI. I decided I'd make a video for people who want to go ahead and play with friends, maybe farm experience really quickly. Sgt Hammer is an excellent choice to really just burn through matches in less than 15 minutes. And with that friend bonus, you can really rack up a lot of quick experience, especially if you're trying to level up a friend or you just want to have a couple of quick games. So let's go ahead and get started with the video.
I despise you almost as much as I despise myself.
As you can see, I'm rocking my WoW-inspired Sgt Hammer skin. She has really decent talents. I prefer, personally, to not go with active talents. Just more for me to remember, and in a game like this you don't really need it. I went with the extra range on her attacks just because it's much more useful. It gives you a lot more poke range. And I was trying to see if I had any Sgt Hammer ones, which I don't, so I went with ham because ham is delicious, objectively. Again, you can see it's best to poke out of siege mode. Definitely want to be careful because she's pretty squishy, especially at lower health. Her E has given her a lot more survivability, but she's pretty weak. So as you can see here, I'm just farming some creeps. Really, one of her biggest strengths is wave clearing, which is how you build up that experience and you get that level advantage on your foes. And when you're fighting AI, they're fairly stupid about this. I mean, you can see Asmodan keeps throwing shit at me, but it's not really doing anything. And you can pretty much immediately go to poke in their tower. I use her spider mines both as a soak for creeps, but also a good way to keep the enemy players, just give you a little room. Use her range to poke enemy champions, because you can hit pretty much anybody long before they can hit you, with a few exceptions. And this butcher's... the AI is not the smartest, so... But as you can see, we've already knocked down a tower, and we have a level advantage over our opponents already. Again, you don't need to fear when you get ganged up on by creeps. They hit so weak that you're really not risking much by just blasting away a creep wave. And we knocked down another tower. And I'm hesitating on picking a talent mainly because the situation's too fluid. And there's not really anything there that's going to give me a huge advantage right in this moment. So I went ahead with the regenerative blasts because this will give me even more survivability against versus enemy champions. So you can see that it's pretty effective. I'm healing myself up. Alex Strauss is probably pretty bored by now, but that's fine. And we're already halfway down on their first keep. As you can see, my allies are not doing so well, but they don't really need to. The control point is unlocking. Honestly, in a game this fast, most of these objectives become optional. You can if you want, but I'm not here to drag it out. I just wanted to win as fast as I could. This one I decided to go in. I like this this one. You're definitely not invincible, so keep that in mind. You can't dive by yourself. And now we have the fun death counter. Some more good options here. I decided to go with the hovering tank. Moving in siege mode just gives you more mobility, and it really, if you're trying to finish as fast as you can, less time transitioning between tank and siege is time saved. Also, it kind of encourages you to play in that lane pushing siege mode way. But it has advantages, especially in team fights, because you can kind of adapt to the battlefield as it evolves in a team fight and keep moving. And then you can present a zone of control over the objective. I didn't go for that because honestly, I don't need it. At this point, it's just easier for me to start wailing on their towers. And remember, it's worthwhile taking these down when you're in the area, because they're worth 500 experience each, as you can see, which is a nice little boost for a really easy kill for Sgt Hammer. Pretty much we're just going to let our teammates go to town. One of her biggest advantages in team fights is her splash damage, which isn't effective necessarily for getting killing blows. It's great for assists, and it's really good to overload their healer beyond the damage that they can soak. So, as you can see, we're pushing right on through. There's really nothing they can do. We have a 2-level advantage on them at this point. You know, we've only been playing for 5 minutes. And you can see, even though Li Ming is, you know, comboing on, I can pretty much DPS and heal through all of it. You know, you want to keep enemies out of range of their more powerful abilities. So for Asmodan, that's definitely his all shell burn. And again, the AI Butcher is kind of retarded. He just doesn't know what the hell he's doing, which is fine for us because, again, we're going versus AI. We want easy, quick experience. You know, this is not like ranked play. We're just trying to get some quick levels, get some loot boxes, especially for the holidays before those expire. You know, and again, you can see it's really all just a pushing game. Taking that talent that healed me has really taken a lot of the strain off of my healer, although they're doing a great job. But it provides me with a lot more survivability and a lot more independence. I don't have to run back and heal myself at the fountain every time that I take a couple of hits. And again, you pretty much just push forward. You're like an iron wall. So, while they're focusing my Stukov, which is probably a good idea, you know. Also, I want to note that her R talent, I always take the Siege one, especially when I'm trying to finish a game quickly. While the Giant Bullet is funny and reminiscent of Super Mario Brothers, it's not actually that effective. It's better when you talent it with your Storm talent and it keeps flying around the map, but even then, it's just not very effective. It doesn't do that much damage. Whereas her Inferno can be launched multiple times quickly. It does a lot of damage, and it has a damage over time effect as well. As you can see, it's already cooled down. So, good way to burn creeps. It's an excellent way to poke heroes for a lot of damage. And it lets you basically knock down creep waves and towers at the same time. Because where you place it, they walk through it, take damage, makes your job easier all around. So again, Stukov is bored, he's leaving. In this one I went with the Empowered Concussive Blast just because, you know, a lot of what I'm doing is just poking back the enemy. We're still maintaining our 2-level lead. And I mean, I just took like a Li Ming hold. And it looks like, totally forgot that that was Asmodan. Happens. You kind of tunnel vision. We got a quick peek there on top of everything. And it's not really rare to have that. Especially when you're pushing. I mean, 8 minutes in, we've already knocked down 3 of their keeps. So, watch a little bit of hot Stukov dancing action. Watch the team fight happen. And again, in versus AI games, especially with like a quick finish, your objectives are going to be pretty optional. But I chose to go for them because I've barely played the Volskaya Foundry. I like it. I think the robot's cool. Also, it's kind of polite to go in with your teammates on a team fight you know? I mean, you can, as Sgt Hammer, win it yourself, but it's less fun for other people, and I think that's important. And here you go, you see that hovering siege mode really lets us just push everybody off of the base. You know, I set up some mines there more as like an early detection thing than any kind of like deterrent to being attacked. It'll just give me a heads up that somebody's coming from that direction. But as you can see, nothing else happens. I get bored, so I destroy a wall. You know, that's what you do with Sgt Hammer. And I don't know why Malfurion thinks he's going to do anything here, but this is why it's cool to go for the objective in Volskaya, because this robot is awesome, objectively. I mean, we all saw Pacific Rim probably and loved it, and I mean, who wouldn't want to be a part of that? So I'm doing it without a gunner. I don't know why nobody jumped in. You know, as the driver, you have some pretty good defensive capabilities, and it's just a nice break in gameplay from what we're used to. You know, your charge is great for initiating or just diving in and taking the shots for your team. The hand is effective at pushing enemy heroes, which I don't even think I get to use. Yeah. So, again, you can see we now have a 3-level lead. Alright, shrank back to 2, but, you know, realistically, we're doing very well. Smash Malfurion there. And we get the Butcher. Kind of finish this up because you can see we're already at their core. We're team fighting around the core, which is how this usually ends up. But they're definitely beat. They're down 3 levels. You know, we got to push all the way back. And at this point, we're just pretty much blasting their keep. And this is all pretty standard, like end of game versus AI. You're going to have a lot of this where they're just kind of scattered and you just let your minions clean it up. You can contribute if you want, but give the GG at the end. It's always polite. As you can see, I'm on fire. We have a 2-level lead, almost 3. And we scored a super easy MVP. You know, I mean, obviously, Siege, Hero, and XP contribution, best in game. So don't be surprised if you don't get a lot of votes for yourself, because honestly, it's just not that fun to watch Sgt Hammer chew through the defenses. So that was my quick playthrough, Sgt Hammer. What was that? Just over 12 minutes of playtime. Easy win. Not a lot of experience, but again, I wasn't in a group. I was just doing it solo. You can go faster if you have teammates who are playing with you. But hopefully you find this helpful. If you do, give a like, subscribe to the channel, and I can't wait to see you back here again.